Close your eyes for a second and imagine this. It's the end of 2026 and you're standing alone with your thoughts. No noise, no distractions, just the truth. You look back at the year and ask yourself one brutal question: did I change or did I just survive? Most people will lie to themselves in that moment. They'll blame time, circumstances, bad luck. But deep down they'll know the real reason nothing changed. They lived on autopilot, same habits, same comfort, same excuses, just wrapped in a new year. Now here's the part that should shake you. The life you're living right now isn't random. It's not bad luck. It's not fate. It's the exact result of what you do every single day when no one is watching. Your habits built this life. And whether you like it or not, they're already building the next one too. That's dangerous or powerful depending on what you do next. Because here's the truth most people are scared to face. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your habits. And if those habits are weak, distracted, comfortable, and inconsistent, then your future doesn't stand a chance. 2026 is not coming to save you. Motivation won't save you. Inspiration won't save you. Only unstoppable habits will. Habits that don't care how you feel. Habits that show up when you're tired, bored, hurt, or doubting yourself. Habits that turn average people into forces that can't be ignored. This is the year where you either become disciplined enough to change your life or comfortable enough to watch someone else live the life you wanted. And once you understand this, once it really hits you, there's no going back. Because from this moment on, every excuse you make will feel heavier, every lazy choice will feel louder, and every disciplined action will feel like a step toward becoming someone you can finally respect. This isn't about hype. This isn't about motivation. This is about becoming unstoppable, one habit at a time. Discipline is no longer something you try to practice when it's convenient. It's not a tool you pull out when motivation shows up. Discipline is who you are now. It becomes your identity, the foundation of how you live, move, and decide. When discipline becomes identity, there is no debate in your mind. There is no internal argument about whether you should show up or not. You don't ask yourself if you feel like doing the work. You do the work because that's what you do. That's who you are. Most people fail because they treat discipline like a mood. Some days they have it, some days they don't. But identity doesn't work like that. You don't wake up and decide whether you're going to be yourself today. You simply are. And when discipline becomes your identity, skipping the work feels unnatural. Quitting feels wrong. Making excuses feels embarrassing. You begin to move with a different standard, not because someone is watching, but because you are. This shift is uncomfortable at first. Your old self will fight back. Your body will crave rest when it doesn't need it. Your mind will search for reasons to delay, to soften the edge, to make things easier. That resistance is not a sign that something is wrong. It's proof that the transformation has started. Discipline always feels heavy in the beginning because it's crushing the habits of the person you used to be. Every time you act with discipline, you are breaking a piece of your old identity and replacing it with something stronger. When discipline becomes your identity, you stop negotiating with weakness. You don't say, just today I'll skip it. You don't say, I'll start again tomorrow. Tomorrow is a lie comfort tells you to keep you small. Disciplined people don't rely on tomorrow. They dominate today. They understand that every small decision is a vote for the person they are becoming. Miss enough votes and you lose the future you wanted. This identity doesn't make life easier. It makes you stronger. You still feel tired. You still feel fear. You still feel doubt. The difference is that those feelings no longer control your actions. Discipline teaches you that feelings are temporary, but the consequences of your actions are permanent. So you act despite how you feel. You train when you're tired. You work when you're uninspired. You stay focused when distractions are screaming for your attention. And every time you do, your confidence grows. Not because you told yourself you're confident, but because you proved it. People misunderstand discipline. They think it's punishment. It's not. Discipline is self-respect in action. It's you telling yourself, I matter enough to do what needs to be done. It's choosing long-term pride over short-term pleasure. It's understanding that comfort is seductive but expensive, and discipline is painful but profitable. When you live disciplined, you stop betraying yourself. And that alone changes how you walk, how you speak, how you carry yourself in the world. As discipline becomes your identity, others will notice. Not because you talk about it, but because your behavior changes. You become reliable, consistent, calm under pressure. You stop panicking when things get hard because hard is familiar territory. You've trained there. While others look for shortcuts, you look for work. While others complain, you execute. And slowly, without realizing it, you separate yourself from the crowd. This identity also protects you. When chaos hits, when motivation disappears, when life punches you in the mouth, discipline keeps you standing. It becomes your anchor. You don't fall apart because your routines hold you together. You don't drift because your standards keep you aligned. Discipline doesn't make you emotionless, it makes you unshakable. Over time, discipline rewires how you see yourself. You no longer say, I'm trying to change. You say, this is who I am now. And that belief is powerful, because when you believe you are disciplined, you naturally act in disciplined ways. The habits reinforce the identity, and the identity reinforces the habits. It becomes a loop that pushes you forward even on the hardest days. This is how lives change. Not through sudden breakthroughs or dramatic moments, but through the quiet decision to live disciplined every day. When discipline becomes your identity, success is no longer a mystery. It becomes inevitable. Pain is not an obstacle on the path to power. It is the path. Every version of strength, confidence, and dominance you admire in others was paid for in discomfort, sacrifice, and suffering. There is no way around it. Anyone promising power without pain is selling a lie. The truth is harsher, but it's also freeing. If you are willing to suffer in the right direction, you gain access to a level of power most people never touch. Most people run from pain. They avoid it, numb it, distract themselves from it. And in doing so, they also run from growth. Pain is the body and mind signaling that something is being stretched beyond its current limits. That stretch is what creates expansion. Muscles grow by tearing. Confidence grows by surviving fear. Discipline grows by choosing discomfort over ease. If there is no pain, there is no transformation, only maintenance of the same weak patterns. The moment you accept pain as the price, everything changes. You stop asking, why is this so hard? And start asking, what is this making me? That shift alone separates those who rise from those who remain stuck. Pain stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like proof. Proof that you are doing something most people are unwilling to do. Proof that you are stepping into territory where growth lives. Pain is honest. It doesn't flatter you. It doesn't care about your ego or your excuses. It exposes your limits and dares you to push past them. When you're exhausted and still show up, you learn something about yourself that comfort could never teach you. You learn that you are capable of more than you thought. That knowledge is power. Real power, quiet, grounded, unshakable. The pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret is permanent. That's the choice most people fail to see clearly. They avoid the burn of effort today, only to live with the slow, heavy ache of wasted potential tomorrow. That regret doesn't scream, it whispers. It shows up late at night in moments of silence, reminding you of what you didn't do when you had the chance. Compared to that, the pain of hard work is light. Pain also builds resilience. When you suffer on purpose, you become dangerous to adversity. You stop breaking under pressure because pressure is familiar. You've trained there. You've lived there. Life's unexpected hardships don't destroy you, they activate you. While others panic, you move. While others complain, you endure. Pain has already hardened you. There is a reason powerful people don't fear struggle. They've learned that pain is a teacher. Every setback, every failure, every moment of humiliation carries a lesson if you're strong enough to listen. Pain shows you where you're weak, where you're undisciplined, where you still lie to yourself. Instead of resenting it, you use it, you let it sharpen your habits, refine your habits, and eliminate what no longer serves you. The problem isn't pain. The problem is meaningless pain. Suffering without direction leads to bitterness, but suffering with purpose creates strength. When you choose pain in service of a goal, it becomes fuel. Early mornings hurt, but they build discipline. Training hurts, but it builds endurance. Saying no to comfort hurts, but it builds self-respect. Every deliberate discomfort is an investment in power. As you grow, your relationship with pain changes. You stop seeing it as something to avoid and start seeing it as a signal that you're on the right path. The absence of pain becomes suspicious. If everything feels easy, you know you're not pushing hard enough. You're not growing. You're not evolving. Power demands a price, and pain is the currency. Eventually, pain becomes part of your identity, not because you enjoy suffering, but because you understand its value. You don't seek comfort as your highest goal. You seek capability, you seek strength, you seek mastery. And mastery always requires enduring what others won't. This is the truth few people accept. Power is earned in silence, in struggle, in moments where quitting would be easier than continuing. Pain is the gatekeeper. Pay the price and you pass through. Refuse to pay and you stay exactly where you are. Daily ruthless consistency is the difference between people who talk about change and people who actually transform. It is not glamorous. It doesn't feel heroic. Most days it feels repetitive, boring, and unforgiving. But that is exactly why it works. Ruthless consistency is the ability to show up and execute the same disciplined actions day after day, regardless of mood, energy, or external validation. Is the refusal to miss, the refusal to drift, and the refusal to negotiate with excuses. Most people overestimate what they can do in a short burst and underestimate what they can do through steady repetition. They wait for the perfect plan, the perfect time, or the perfect feeling. Ruthless consistency ignores all of that. It says the work gets done whether the conditions are ideal or not. Rain or shine, win or lose, motivated or drained. This mindset removes emotion from execution, and that is where its power lies. Consistency is ruthless because it demands obedience from you. It doesn't ask how your day was. It doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care that you're tired, busy, or discouraged. It only cares that you show up. And when you do, even in small ways, momentum begins to build. One day doesn't change your life, but thousands of disciplined days will reshape everything you touch. The magic of daily consistency is that it compounds quietly. You don't see dramatic results overnight, and that's where most people fail. They quit because they don't feel different fast enough. They mistake lack of immediate reward for lack of progress. But beneath the surface, something is happening. Skills are sharpening. Discipline is strengthening. Identity is shifting. You are becoming someone who follows through. And that is a rare and valuable trait. Ruthless consistency also builds trust with yourself. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you reinforce the belief that you can be relied upon. Confidence is not built through hype or positive thinking. It is built through evidence. When you show up daily, you gather proof. Proof that you are disciplined. Proof that you don't quit easily. Proof that you can endure boredom and discomfort. That proof becomes unshakable confidence. There will be days when your performance is mediocre. Days when you feel slow, weak, unfocused, or uninspired. Ruthless consistency does not demand perfection. It demands presence. Showing up poorly is still showing up. A bad workout beats no workout. A distracted hour of work beats none at all. Progress doesn't require brilliance every day. It requires participation every day. This approach also protects you from extremes. Instead of burning out with intense bursts followed by long periods of nothing, consistency keeps you balanced. It turns effort into a lifestyle rather than an event. You stop chasing motivation and start trusting systems. Systems don't get tired. Systems don't get emotional. Systems work when you work them. Daily consistency also exposes weakness. When you commit to showing up every day, you confront your excuses quickly. You can't hide behind, "I'll do it tomorrow," because tomorrow keeps coming. You begin to see patterns in your resistance, and that awareness allows you to correct them. Over time, what once felt hard becomes normal. What once required willpower becomes routine. The ruthless part of consistency is knowing when to say no. No to distractions. No to people who pull you off track. No to habits that drain your energy. You realize that every unnecessary yes steals from your discipline. Protecting your routine becomes non-negotiable because you understand what's at stake. You're not just protecting time, you're protecting momentum. Eventually, consistency creates separation. While others stop and start, you keep going. While others wait for motivation, you rely on structure. While others chase shortcuts, you master fundamentals. That separation isn't loud, it's subtle. But over months and years, it becomes undeniable. Results appear not because you were special, but because you were stubborn enough to stay consistent. Daily ruthless consistency is not about intensity. It's about loyalty to your goals, your standards, and your future self. When you commit to showing up every day, you remove luck from the equation. Success stops being a question of if and becomes a matter of when. Weak patterns don't destroy your future all at once. They do it quietly, slowly, and repeatedly. They hide in routines that feel harmless, habits you justify, and excuses you've normalized. That's what makes them dangerous. They don't announce themselves as failure. They show up as comfort, delay, and distraction. And if you don't confront them early, they grow strong enough to control your life. Every weak pattern begins as a choice you make once. Skip the work. Delay the task. Take the easy route. Tell yourself it doesn't matter. But patterns don't care about your intentions. They care about repetition. Do something often enough and it becomes automatic. That automation is either building your future or quietly dismantling it. The hardest truth to accept is that your future isn't ruined by big mistakes. It's ruined by small, undisciplined behaviors repeated daily. Procrastination feels harmless until months disappear. Distraction feels innocent until your focus is gone. Comfort feels deserved until you realize you've traded growth for ease. Weak patterns always promise relief now and deliver regret later. To kill weak patterns, you must first stop defending them. Most people don't fail because they're unaware of their bad habits. They fail because they justify them. They say they're tired, stressed, busy, or unlucky. But those explanations don't change outcomes. Responsibility does. The moment you take full ownership of your patterns, you take back control of your future. Eliminating weak patterns requires decisiveness, not gradual negotiation, not endless planning, decisive action. If something consistently pulls you away from your goals, it must be removed or restricted. Waiting to feel ready is just another weak pattern in disguise. Readiness comes after action, not before it. This process is uncomfortable because weak patterns are familiar. They feel safe. They give you predictability. Killing them creates a void, and humans are uncomfortable with voids. But that emptiness is necessary. It creates space for stronger habits to grow. You cannot layer discipline on top of dysfunction. You must clear the ground first. Weak patterns also thrive in isolation and secrecy. When no one is watching, they become bolder. That's why self-awareness is a weapon. Pay attention to what you do when no one is holding you accountable. Those moments reveal your true patterns. And those patterns reveal your true direction. Replacing weak patterns requires structure. You can't simply remove a habit and leave nothing in its place. The mind will return to what's familiar. You must consciously install stronger routines that make weak behaviors harder to access. Change your environment. Change your schedule. Change your triggers. Discipline is easier when weakness has fewer entry points. There will be resistance. Your mind will rebel. It will tell you that you're being extreme, that you deserve a break, that it's not that serious. That voice is the pattern fighting for survival. If you listen to it, nothing changes. If you override it, you win a small but critical battle. Enough of those victories and the pattern loses its power. The longer you tolerate weak patterns, the more expensive they become. What could have been corrected with small discipline later requires massive effort. Time is the multiplier. Kill the pattern early and the cost is manageable. Let it live and it demands everything. Strong futures are built by people who are ruthless with their habits. They don't romanticize their flaws. They don't cling to behaviors that sabotage them. They understand that discipline is not about being perfect, it's about being honest. Honest about what's working and what isn't. Honest about what needs to go. Killing weak patterns is an act of self-respect. It's you choosing the future you want over the comfort you're used to. Every time you eliminate destructive routine, you create room for progress. Do this consistently, and you don't just protect your future, you reclaim it. Rewiring the mind of a champion starts with understanding one hard truth: your thoughts are not innocent. Every thought you repeat is training your brain, shaping your reactions, and reinforcing the kind of person you become. Most people let their minds run wild, filled with doubt, fear, and self-pity, then wonder why their lives feel out of control. A champion does the opposite. A champion trains the mind with the same intensity and discipline used to train the body. Your mind is always learning, whether you are intentional or not. If you constantly tell yourself you're tired, unlucky, or not good enough, your brain accepts it as instruction. It adapts, it lowers effort, it avoids challenge. Over time, that inner dialogue becomes your reality. Rewiring begins the moment you stop allowing negative thoughts to go unchallenged. You don't let them sit comfortably. You confront them. You question them. You replace them with thoughts that demand action instead of excuses. A champion's mind is built on standards, not emotions. Emotions change daily. Standards remain. When you live by standards, your behavior stays consistent even when motivation disappears. You don't wait to feel confident before acting. You act and confidence follows. This is mental conditioning. You teach your brain that action is non-negotiable and feelings are temporary. With repetition, your mind stops arguing and starts obeying. Self-talk is one of the most powerful tools in rewiring the mind. What you say to yourself in moments of pressure matters more than any external motivation. When things get hard, the average mind looks for escape. The champion's mind looks for control. Instead of saying, I can't, you say, stay focused. Instead of saying, this is too much, you say, handle it. These aren't empty words. They are commands. Over time, your brain learns to respond to them. Visualization also plays a role. The mind struggles to separate vivid imagination from real experience. When you consistently picture yourself showing up disciplined, calm, and relentless, you create familiarity with that version of yourself. Then when pressure arrives, your brain recognizes the situation and responds with confidence instead of panic. Champions rehearse success mentally long before it shows up physically. Another critical part of rewiring is how you interpret failure. Most people let failure define them. Champions let it inform them. Failure becomes feedback, not a verdict. When something doesn't work, you don't spiral into self-doubt. You analyze, adjust, and move forward. This response trains your brain to stay solution-oriented instead of emotional. Over time, setbacks lose their power to derail you. Focus is another trained skill. In a world full of distractions, a champion's mind learns to lock in. You don't give your attention to everything that demands it. You choose what deserves your focus. This requires discipline. It requires boredom tolerance. It requires saying no repeatedly. But focus multiplies effort. A concentrated mind can achieve more in 1 hour than a distracted mind can in a day. Rewiring also demands control over impulses. Champions don't react to every urge. They pause, they choose. They understand that giving in to every impulse weakens the mind. Each time you delay gratification, you strengthen mental control. Each time you resist distraction, you sharpen discipline. These small moments add up. They turn willpower into habit. Your environment matters as well. The mind is influenced by what it consumes. The content you watch, the people you listen to, and the conversations you engage in all leave an imprint. Champions are selective. They reduce noise. They protect their mental space. This isn't isolation, it's intention. You can't think like a champion while feeding your mind chaos. Rewiring the mind is not a one-time decision. It's a daily process. Some days the old patterns will try to return. That's normal. The difference is that now you recognize them. You don't identify with them. You correct them. And each correction strengthens the new wiring. Eventually, your mind stops resisting discipline. Focus becomes natural. Pressure becomes familiar. Doubt loses volume. At that point, you don't just perform like a champion, you think like one. And once the mind is trained, the rest follows. This is where it all comes together, not in a dramatic moment, not in a burst of motivation, but in a quiet, irreversible decision. The decision to stop living on autopilot and start living with intent. Everything you've heard comes down to one truth. Your future is being built right now, whether you're paying attention or not. 2026 will not reward wishes. It will not care about your excuses, your past, or how unfair life felt. It will only respond to what you do daily, the habits you choose, the discipline you enforce, the pain you're willing to endure. That's the real scoreboard. You don't need to become perfect. You need to become relentless. Relentless about showing up. Relentless about protecting your standards. Relentless about cutting off anything that weakens you. Because once discipline becomes your identity, once pain becomes your teacher, once consistency becomes non-negotiable, once weak patterns are eliminated, and once your mind is trained to stay focused under pressure, there is no stopping you. This is the moment where you stop waiting to feel ready. Ready is a lie. Confidence is built after action, not before it. Strength comes after resistance, not comfort. Respect comes after you prove to yourself that you don't quit when things get hard. 1 year from now, you will be someone different. The only question is who. Someone stronger, sharper, and disciplined, or someone with the same regrets, just louder excuses. That choice is not made in January. It's made today, in the next hour, in the next decision you try to avoid. So don't aim to be motivated. Aim to be disciplined. Don't aim to be comfortable. Aim to be capable. And don't aim to be average in a world that rewards the relentless. Start now. Show up. Stay consistent. And never forget this, your habits will either make you unstoppable or make you invisible.